Hello lovelies, I'm Christina and today I am giving you my Texas and London book haul. Now for those of you who've seen my Texas and London vlog, you know that my trip got extended quite a bit because of the British Airways disruption, and initially I only got 3 books when I was in Texas, so I was thinking, oh, this is pretty good being me, and I always end up buying a lot of books when I travel. But being stuck in London increased that number quite a bit, so let's just get into the books. I'm gonna start off with the 3 ones that I got in Texas, and the first one is the one that I was so excited to finally get my hands on, and that was Gwendy's Button Box by Stephen King and Richard Chizmar. Probably butchered that, sorry if I did. This is the newest release of Stephen King. It is the story of Gwendy, who is trying to lose weight. She is in her early teens in the beginning of this book, and on one of her runs she meets a man who's dressed in black, and I think he has a white collar, but I can't help myself by seeing like some similarities to the man in black in Dark Tower, and I don't know if I'm supposed to. But any kind of Stephen King novel now, I will definitely look for like hints or connections to the Dark Tower, and I probably will continue on doing that for as long as I read his books. So, but anyways, she meets a man dressed in black. He gives her a button box with a lot of buttons on top, and these buttons do some serious crazy things, and it is a huge responsibility for her to have this box, and it changes her life. Now, I already read this while I was in Texas and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will do a full review of it pretty soon. Now, the next 2 books I got at Half Price Books, which I've always wanted to go to, and I finally got a chance to do that while I was over there. And the 2 I got was, the first was one that I've seen around, I think I've seen it mostly around Instagram, but here on BookTube as well. But that was Slade House by David Mitchell. I've already read this one as well, which I really enjoyed. It is a story of a house in an alley that suddenly appears every 9 years, or the gate to the house only appears every 9 years, and every time someone goes in it, they disappear forever, and it's the story of what happens at Slade House. This was also one that I thoroughly enjoyed, which I actually just kind of saw and I was like, oh, I've seen that around, I think I'm gonna get that as well, and I'm really glad that I did. The last book I got on my Texas trip was another Stephen King book. I got this used at Half Price Books, and I was so fascinated because this is a cover of this book that I haven't seen before. So that is the reason why I ended up picking up this chunk of a book to bring back home to Norway. And the thing is, it doesn't even say on the cover which book it is. So I was like, oh, this one is standing in the middle of all the other Stephen King novels. What is this? But this is Lacey Story. I have not read Lacey Story before. All I know about it is it's about Lisey, who is married to a man named Scott. Scott dies. He is an award-winning novelist, I think, and he has told Lisey about the place that he goes, which is some kind of dark, demonized place where he can go to get his ideas, and it's a place that can either bring you really good stories or it will kill you, from what I've gathered from the synopsis. And then she goes on the hunt to find out more about this place, and I'm pretty sure she gets wrapped up in all the darkness. Just look at that cover. It's just so unlike any other Stephen King cover. That's why it really caught my eye. I haven't seen any kind of cover for his books that looks anything like this, so I'm really glad I got my hands on it. Now, let's get over to the books that I bought in London. First off, while I was waiting for hours and hours on Heathrow, I was like, oh, I could buy some books while I'm here. One of the Heathrow stores had a buy one, get the second one for half price offers. That's why I ended up picking up 2 books there on my way home. The first book I picked up there was one that I'd been waiting for a while, but I haven't picked up yet. It is the sequel to Sleeping Giants, and it is Waking Gods by Sylvain Neuvel. I think I did a review of this here on my channel. At least I did a written review on my blog. I will link that down below. This is the story of a woman who falls down a hole in the ground and ends up being found lying in a big giant metal hand. Then they find these big giant body pieces spread all over the world, and they are trying to find out what this mystery is all about. I really enjoyed the first book, and I'm hoping that I will enjoy this one just as much. And the covers are just gorgeous. The second book I picked up was one that I've never actually heard of before, but the cover caught my eye, and I've been looking around for some easy, fluffy summer reads to add to my TBRs for this summer. So I ended up picking up The Light We Lost by Jill Santopolo. The synopsis says, "You never forget your first love. Lucy and Gabe met on a day that will change their lives forever. He was the first person to inspire her, to move her, to truly understand her. Was he meant to be the last?" So it just sounds like it could be a good cry. We'll see. I have no idea. I haven't even checked Goodreads for the rating of this, but it just caught my eye, and sometimes you just have to go with your gut. When I ended up being stranded in London, I had to go into my favorite bookstore, and that is Waterstones at Piccadilly, and there I picked up 4 books. The first one I laid my hands on there was one that I've seen around BookTube a lot in the last like half a year, I think it is. It was first published in 2013, so it's actually been out a while, and that is The Gigantic Beard That Was Evil by Stephen Collins. It is a graphic novel. It's all painted in like grays and black and white. It's really a simplistic kind of graphic novel, but still has a lot of like fine details to it. So it has that really good balance. It is a truly remarkable story. I already read through this. It's a really quick read. I read it last night. I will talk more about it in my wrap-up, but it's just a fantastic book. Penguin Books has these great ideas books that they've released, which are really, like almost as small as pamphlets. This was really amazing. They had a lot of them. There are, I think there's about 40 altogether, could be more, I'm not sure. And they were really cheap as well. I don't remember the exact price. And this one that I picked up was Eichmann and the Holocaust. It was sheer thoughtlessness that predisposed him to become one of the greatest criminals of the period, by Hannah Arendt. It says, inspired by the trial of a bureaucrat who helped cause the Holocaust, this radical work on the banality of evil stunned the world with its exploration of a regime's moral blindness and one man's insistence that he be absolved of all guilt because he was only following orders. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's gonna be a very interesting read. Then another complete like cover buy is one that just caught my eye while I was in Waterstones, and it is The End We Start From by Megan Hunter. I finished this last night, so I will talk more about this in my wrap-up as well. The story sounded really interesting. It's an apocalyptic story about a woman who gives birth during like the descent of the world when everything gets flooded, and how then she and her son sees the world as it falls apart. Now, the last book I got on my trip is one that I have seen a lot around BookTube and Instagram as well, and it's really beautiful. And I got the Waterstone special edition with exclusive essay, and it is The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. London, 1893, when Cora Seaborn's husband dies, she steps into her new life as a widow with as much relief as sadness. Retreating to the countryside with her son, she encounters rumors of the Essex Serpent, a creature of folklore said to have returned to roam the marshes. Cora is enthralled, believing it may be an undiscovered species. Setting out on its trail, she collides with local minister William Ransom, who thinks the cure for hysteria lies in faith, while Cora is convinced that science offers the answers. Despite disagreeing on everything, he and Cora find themselves drawn together, changing each other's lives in unexpected ways. And it just sounded really interesting. Beautiful cover. I haven't really checked up much on the reviews of this one either, or the rating, but I'm very excited to get to this pretty soon. A certain kind of OCD kicks in whenever I try to stack books, because they have to like be in order according to size. I know they don't have to, but I like them to be. There you have it. Those are the books that I accumulated on my trip to Texas and London. I am very happy to be back in Oslo right now, but I'm already feeling that traveling itch coming back. And I am very excited to try to find out where my next trip is going to be and to take you along with me as well. If you have read any of these books and has any recommendations for what I'm going to try to get to next, please tell me in the comments down below. I will also link to all the books down below so you can go and find out more about them if you want to. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you in my next video soon. Goodbye!